Welcome to Heart of Gold, everyone. This is an amazing evening. We're so glad you're here with us this evening. Turn to your neighbor and tell them thank you for joining with us tonight. Thank you. And give yourselves a big round of applause for being here with us this evening. My name is Wayne Turetsky. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at 3 Key Elements, and I love my job. I love being able to be in the room with such amazing, powerful people such as yourselves. This is so cool, and I have the best job in the world to be in a place like this with such cool people like you tonight. So thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking this time to be in this space with us together. Tonight is very special because tonight is not regular Master Your Influence. Who here is part of Master Your Influence? Who's a student for the event this weekend? Awesome, awesome. Who here is not part of the event? They're just a guest for this evening? Thank you. Welcome to the event as well. Welcome to the event. We hope you've got a good neighbor with you. This event is special tonight because this is a bonus class. This is a bonus class for you, for Kirk to share some things with you that are a little bit different and a little bit special for himself and his family and for 3 Key Elements as a company. And so you've opted in. So good job. Thank you for opting in. Big round of applause for opting into something special. 3 Key Elements has been recognized as one of the fastest growing companies with the Inc. 500, 5000. We've been recognized by the Utah Genius Awards, and we've been growing, and we've been changing a lot of people's lives. And this is part of what that's all about. And the Heart of Gold is a special opportunity because of what you're going to learn tonight. And it's kind of hard to describe it until you've actually gone and been through the experience of what Kirk's going to teach here tonight. So I don't want to spoil the punchline. But I want to give you a story, kind of a parable or an analogy that for me, kind of describes what's going to happen tonight. And so the story goes that a student was walking through the forest with a master teacher. And the master teacher picked up an acorn and said, "Look at this and tell me, what do you see?" And the first thing that went through the student's mind was squirrel food, right? But he didn't say that because he knew that that was probably the wrong answer for the master teacher. So he looks at it a little while, and he says, I see an acorn tree. And the master teacher says, very good. And so I hope tonight you have the opportunity to get out your notebooks because you're going to be taking some notes. I hope that you're going to learn some things tonight that you're going to take with you back to your homes, back to your place of work, back to your school, your place of business. And you're going to take these things, and it's going to take this small acorn that you're going to learn tonight, and it's going to grow into an acorn tree for you, and you're going to connect some pieces of some things that you've never realized before. And so I love that analogy of out of a small acorn can come a larger tree. Okay? But I also want to let you in on a little bit of a secret about the mission and purpose of 3 Key Elements. Because the rest of the story goes that as this teacher, this master teacher and the student were walking along through the forest, the master teacher turns to the student and says, "But that's not what I see." And the student thinks, "Well, what do you see in that seed?" And the master teacher says, "I see an entire forest." And so out of that one seed, not only can come a tree, but from that tree can then sprout more trees and can grow into a magnificent forest. And so our secret mission here at 3 Key Elements, don't tell Kirk I'm telling you this, is for you to be able to go out and share with your friends, with your family, and in particular your family, with your kids, with your grandkids, the people that you hold close to you and close to your heart, so that they can take the things that you're going to learn tonight and they can implement it in their lives, and they can have things get better for them as well. Okay? So please, as you go through tonight, think about the acorn of what you're going to learn and how that's going to affect your life. But also in the back of your mind, be thinking about the things that you're learning and how it can affect the next generation and the generation after that, and maybe even the generation that's not born yet after that. And the impact that this can have on their life as well. Because that's really what we want. We want to make this go further than just the people that are here in this room. Now, you're all amazing. Turn to your neighbor and tell them, I'm amazing and so are you. So if you can play at 100%, then Kirk will play at 100% as well. And this is going to be an amazing experience for all of you. So I'm going to bring Kirk out here on stage. Kirk is an amazing mentor, an amazing trainer. We are so blessed to have him part of our lives. He is the president and founder of Three Key Elements. He's a member of the National Speakers Association. He's been on TV more times than we've been able to count. And he's done so many presentations, I've lost count. I think we're over 5,000 presentations at this point that Kirk's been able to deliver. So big round of applause for progress, right? But Kirk not only is a great trainer and a great mentor and a great keynote speaker, he's also a devoted husband and father to his children, and he really understands what's going on in the world and what needs to happen next. So who's ready to play at 100%? Let me hear about it. One more time, who's ready to play at 100%? Okay, so then please give a big round of applause for Kirk Duncan.
Hi, hi, hi. How we doing? Well, good evening. Hey, welcome to the Heart of Gold, and first things first, wrap your arm around your new friend next to you. Wrap your arm around and just tell him, I'm glad you showed up, my friend. All right, let go of that new friend. Hey, so I want to just take a moment here and also congratulate you on arranging your evening to be able to be here tonight. And also, I want to take a moment and reach out to my friends who are watching me right now. First off, in the camera right now, I just want to say, hello, sweetie pie. My wife is at home right now watching me on the internet, and I know she's like, oh my gosh, Kirk's seeing me, and hey, I see you, sweetie pie. I also want to reach out to my friends down in Guatemala and Honduras, and also my friends who are watching from the Dominican Republic. I have friends literally all over the world right now who are watching live online about this class here tonight. Because I promised them that I'd make it possible for them to see the Heart of Gold and listen to the Heart of Gold. And so for those of you who are here and present for this evening, congratulations on being here. And those of you who was able to arrange your computer and have internet access, because I know I have some friends in I have some friends down in Guatemala that once in a while they have internet. And they do everything they can to position their computer just right so they can watch. So I honor and respect everyone's sacrifice about participating in tonight's event. This is a bonus class, and what we mean by a bonus class is that since during the day we are holding Master Your Influence and holding this 3-day event with 1,200 people in this program, I thought, hey, we still got chairs and a stage set up here. I would like to come back this evening and share some personal experiences and some personal understanding and education that I've gone through, and also what my wife and my family and I have gone through in our personal development journey. And so tonight, you're going to get a little bit of an open book from me about the Duncans. And so tonight, I'm not trying to convince anybody of a particular way of thinking. I'm not trying to change your mind about things. What I'm here tonight to do is to share with you what we've gone through and what we're figuring out. Because maybe something we've figured out could help you. Maybe something we've already faced and struggled with and figured out the answer for, maybe that's something that can help you in your life. And I think because you're here or you've tuned in online that you already have something in common between you and I. There's something else that we have in common. You and I are searching for the same thing. We're searching for direction. We really want to know, am I going the right way? We really want to know that. We want to know, did I make a good decision in the direction I'm going in my life right now? Did I pick the right job? Did I pick the right neighborhood? This next week, am I doing the right things? Because right now in the world, there's quite a bit of confusion about people and their purpose and their mission and the direction that they're going. And so we literally are searching for direction. Which takes me to a story. When my kids were little, and when I say little, I mean my son Cameron right now, he's 6'92". This kid's just big. He grew up really, really, really tall. I got Cameron, Cody, and Caden. And 3 awesome, awesome kids. And I just love them dearly. And they've watched their mom and dad go through some experiences in their life of, being a new little family and trying to figure things out and struggle and struggle financially, struggle with our health, and then they watch us change and do better, and they've been along for the ride. So they play a part in a lot of these stories. Well, one particular story that happened that is very fond to me in my mind is one day I was going to go hunting up in the mountains. I want to go up in the mountains and spend some time with my boy, and I grabbed Cameron, and I believe Cody was there too. Cameron, Cody, they're just little guys, right? They're still in car seats. So I told Kim, hey, we're going to go up in the mountains for quite a while, and we're going to be gone for the day, and I'm going to take the boys with me. Now, back then, I don't think I had a cell phone that I took with me, because later in the story, it makes sense. And so I just told her we're going to be gone for a while. I didn't even think about it, but man, we went way up into the mountains and drove down some roads I've never driven down before, and I found myself up on the top of a ridge of a mountain, up on the very, very, very top. And it was first thing in the morning, so it's still cold, and the sun's just barely coming up, and I thought, you know what? How about we just drive down this canyon, because it looks like it goes down to the bottom, and then it comes out onto a highway. That's what it looked like. So in the cold temperature of the morning, we began driving down this canyon. And the road had some pretty deep ruts in it, which indicated that when the roads weren't frozen, they were muddy. And so I didn't think much of it, and we started working our way down the canyon. And by the time we got down to the bottom, the sun had come out and began to shine on that side of the mountain. Well, when I got to the bottom, I realized the road literally dead ends. It just stopped. There's no more road to get across the next little ditch and the river and all the other hills I need to get to the highway. And it's like, oh man, I got to turn around and go back up this canyon. So we're in a Bronco and got the 2 boys in their car seats, and I got the vehicle turned around, and I began to go back up this canyon. Well, immediately, the wheels started to spin. And the back wheels are spinning in this mud that had warmed up now that the sun was shining on it. Oh, my goodness. And I looked up that canyon, and it's a big, steep canyon, and we're already stuck. So I clicked into the 4-wheel drive, and now I got 4-wheel drive. I got 4 wheels spinning, not just 2 wheels. So all 4 wheels are spinning. We literally are spinning ourselves into a hole. Now, if I was with my dad or maybe some of my uncles or my brother, what would happen is I'd tell them to get out and go push, right? But I got these 2 little kids in car seats, and I looked at them, and I thought, could they push us out? No. I could throw them under the tires. Mom wouldn't like that, though, so I guess they get to stay in their car seat. But I thought, well, maybe I could get Cameron to drive and push on the gas, and I get out of the car and let this little 7-year-old drive up the mountain. That sounded scary. So I didn't move Cameron into the driver's seat, and Cameron and Cody are sitting there just like, they think it's fun because we're rocking back and forth, and they're like, Dad, this is fun. I'm like, oh yeah, it's fun. Mud's flying everywhere, And my heart is sinking. I mean, literally, my heart sinks into fear. Because I'm thinking, what do I do? I'm at the end of a dead-end road, way up in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if anybody's even going to come by. Like, literally, I think we're by ourselves, and I'm starting to think, okay, how do I take care of the kids? How are we going to get to a road? How are we going to find a person? And I'm panicking. And my kids are just having fun. Whoa, Dad, this is fun. This is fun. And I finally get it rocking back so much that I literally won't rock back and forth. It's stuck, clear up to the axles. I mean, you know you're stuck when the wheels just spin and the vehicle doesn't even move. Oh, man, we are massively stuck. So I'm sitting there all in panic, all tight and worried about how this is going to turn out. And I remember looking over at Cameron. He's sitting up front in his car seat, and Cameron's just sitting there, and I'm like, hey, we're stuck. And Cameron's just looking around, and he goes, oh, we are? I go, yeah, we're stuck. And he goes, oh, well, then I'm going to pray. I'm like, okay, hold on. You need to think about this. This is serious. And he goes, Dad, it's okay. I got this. Dear God, Dad's stuck. Can you help him? Amen. I didn't even have a chance to fold my arms, right? Because the Duncans are a praying family. I mean, we pray about everything. We're a praying family. And he pops his little head up, and he's like, okay, Dad, everything's going to be fine. And I'm doing a reality check. I look around, look outside. I'm like, no, I think God's up there laughing at us. Going, Kirk, you're stuck. And I got to admit this. My faith in that moment was really, really super tiny and very skeptic of what could happen from my little guy's prayer that was so short and so sweet, where he got to tell God I'm stuck, and I'm sure all the angels in heaven were just like, oh, this is awesome. Let's see what happens next to these guys. Well, Cameron's sitting there, and I'm kind of stewing because I can't do anything. I can't get out and fix it. I don't have a shovel. I don't have a chain. I don't have any tools to help me. I was just on a nice little drive in the mountains. And I remember Cameron was just sitting there, and he goes, Dad, they're coming. They're on their way. I said, Cameron, what do you mean? He goes, Dad, they're on their way. How do you know that? I got it. I know, Dad. They're on their way. I'm like, oh, come on. No, really. I'm like, there is no way somebody is going to find us out here. And as soon as I said that last sentence, off in the distance you hear, and I'm like, Cameron, I hear something. He goes, I know, they're on their way. I'm like, did you hear that? No, I just know they're coming. What do you mean they know they're coming? Yeah, they're coming. We're going to get help. But my little guy, got an answer. He got some direction. He got some clarification what's happening. And I'm over here, I got nothing. I got no instruction. It's like, can we talk and skip the kid? Can you tell me what's going on? And I'm sitting there, and I hear these noises, and off road, no trail, no road, no nothing, over the edge of the mountain right next to me comes a guy on a four-wheeler and another guy on a four-wheeler. There's three guys on three floors. They come over the top of the hill, and Cameron whips his head around and goes, Dad, angels on four-wheelers. Dad, look, they're right there. And I'm like, I didn't want to smash his, faith and everything. Like, oh, no, it's just dudes out not following the roads. And they're out, and here they come. They come right over top of the hill, and I thought, oh, great. They're going to think we're, like, having a sandwich, and they're just going to keep on going by. That first guy on a four-wheeler comes down the hill, and pulls right up next to my window. Just pulls right up, and we're sunk in the ground, so they're, like, right there. And I look at Cameron, and he's just gawking at him. And he's just tapping my arm. Dad, they're from heaven. They're angels from heaven. And I'm looking at this guy, and still to this day, when I review, you guys, I try hard to remember stories exactly. When I remember stories exactly, I remember turning to look at this guy, and no kidding, He looks at me and smiles, and his tooth sparkles. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I looked at him like, what? What? And I look at Cameron, he's like, yeah, they're there. And I looked over, and the other guy in a four-wheeler pulled up next to the other window, and they're just like these charming men, not like gruff and all just like, what's up, dude, you stuck? They're not like that. They pulled up and went, are you stuck? Even the way they talked, I was like, it's almost slightly creepy. They were so polite and so charming and well kept. It's like nobody drives a four-wheeler and is well kept in the mountains. You're just dirty and grungy and stuff. And I looked at this guy and I was like, yeah, we're stuck. And he goes, okay, we're here to help you. I was like, no, are you serious? Did I just hear that? It's like I found myself trying to reject it. I remember that whole experience. Cameron having this just massive open heart to faith. And I'm finding every reason to discount this. I'm like, what is my problem? And the guy that was on the other side, he hops off his four-wheeler. The other guy had already went up in the trees and was dragging down a tree. And this guy jumped off and got branches. And they parked their four-wheelers. And they're like, okay, we got tree branches up there. Give it a go. And I kind of get it going. And they stick tree branches under my tires. And it starts to pop me out of the holes. And seriously, we just sunk in our spot. And we're starting to work our way out of it. And I'm looking out the window. And there's a guy here, and a guy over here. And they're just like doing these things. And it was like too perfect. These guys look clean cut, nice people, got that charming smile on four-wheelers. And Cameron's back too. Hey, this is fun. They're just having fun. And they pop us up out of the holes. And the one guy, as we popped up out of the holes, I looked over the guy, and the guy goes, hit it. And I just hit it, and we just took off. And we just kept going. And Cameron, tries to turn in his chair to look back. And we're already on our way up. And he turns around and he goes, Dad, they're already gone. No way. Dad, they're gone. I'm like, go, 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 go. We take off. Never saw him again. And I still, to this day, number one, I'm impressed by the faith of a child. That reminded me how much I'd slipped into being critical about what can happen. And I was just critical about it. And I remember driving home just, I remember I can't call Kim. I didn't have a phone. I just remember just driving home just like, what? And we're on our way home, and the kids fall asleep and I'm driving, and we get close to home, so I wake them up, and we go inside, and I remember the kids going inside, and Cameron goes inside and goes, Mom, guess what? We saw angels today. And she goes, oh, you did? Yeah, it was cool. Dad doesn't believe it. But we saw angels. And they're just all bubbly, like it's just that how it is. And Kim's like, what happened? I go, they were charming. And she goes, what happened? I go, it's weird. And then they were gone. It was so weird. She goes, do you think it was really true? And I'm like, oh, no. You ask me, and I'm going to go, I don't know. You ask them, and they're going to go, it's real. But in that story, that was a great story that we tell and around the campfire and to friends that we meet. Isn't it fascinating? Isn't it fascinating that a child can believe so much more? And here I'm an adult with all these years of experience. You would think as years go on, my faith would increase. But here I was caught going, wow, why do I doubt? Why do I think I'm helpless? Why do I think I'm not good enough to be helped by a higher power stuck in the mountains. How come I got that way? And he was the one praying. I wasn't even the one praying. And I was sitting there and I could not figure out what to do. But because he had that, hey, Dad, you know what we ought to do? We ought to just pray. It's like, oh, and I got critical on him. Man, it really taught me and really woke me up to, am I being that critical about life and what can happen? Where is my faith? Is it locked up in my head, trying to figure out the components of faith and miracles? Is it trying to figure that out? And like I'm supposed to, like, with my mind, figure out faith? When literally the heart of who we are is where faith comes from. The belief, the hope, the wish. Boy, I found myself getting too much in my head. Too much into, I have to figure it out. I must figure it out. And it's too much in my head. Wow. I also remember the day my wife comes down to the kitchen and she goes, Kirk, we have to go to the campground up in the mountains because I know that's where the camera is. Kim, what are you talking about? You know the camera we lost like 3 months ago? I got an answer. I got direction where the camera is. It's up in the mountains at that campground. Honey, if we left a camera on a picnic bench 3 months ago, it's not there. No, I was walking through the bedroom and all of a sudden I got this impression and it's there, but we have to go now. Really, we got to go right now. Why do we have to hurry? No, get the kids, we have to go now. Honey, it's okay. No, man, she drives us to get into the car. We get in the car, we take off up the mountain. We get up to the mountain and I'm like, which campground is this? And she goes, it's the one around the corner, I think. We pull around the corner, we pull up to the little camp host cabin thing, the little building that you have to check in and, pay for your camping spot. We pull up, and the lady inside goes, oh, it's you, the camera people. My wife's over here, this lady's here, she goes, is this your guys' camera? It's like, whoa, hold on, what's happening? Well, we found this camera, so we looked at your pictures, trying to figure out who you guys are, and we're actually packing up to leave for the winter. And we're about ready to leave. And we're sitting there going, what do we do with this camera about these people? And you guys showed up. And the lady looks at me and goes, good job, sir. Way to bring your family up here. And Kim looks at me like, yeah, it takes a woman to get a guy up there. It takes a wife to have a heart that's in tune. I've really struggled with being in tune, trying to find better ways to be in tune. And I realized to be in tune, there's something I must understand. I think you're picking up that the Duncans believe in a higher power, that there's a good source, and many people call their higher powers so many different things, and it's okay. Whatever you call your higher power, you just change whatever I describe it as to what you describe it as, but I believe all of us good people believe that there is a source of truth and a source of life that loves us and wants to guide us. So in my struggle of trying to figure out how to be in tune, I've had to come to a little bit of a reality check. Okay, if there's good, there's also going to be bad. If there's a heaven, there's a good chance there's a hell. Well, the good book says that there's a hell. So that means if there's a God, there's also a devil. And so it's like, well, if I want to be in tune, I probably should come to a reality check that I probably have both sources that are trying to talk to me. And part of being in tune is clarifying which one I'm listening to. Because my understanding about the devil is he's pretty sneaky. And from what I read and understand from other people, and my own personal experiences, he doesn't like me. And he wants me to live miserably, and he wants my soul, and he wants me to finish my life early and make it all over and gone. So pretty much he doesn't like me. And so he's going to do whatever he can to really be sneaky in how he gets me to mess up. And so in my quest to become in tune, I've clarified, okay, there's two. I got heaven that's trying to talk to me. I got hell that's after me. So I got two places going on. Okay, so also some other components about being in tune is, oh yeah, all those other teachers and people and friends and my parents inside my head giving me advice. So it's like there's me and my voice in my head. There's all the people I've grown up with, they're in my head. And then I got the devil and I got God. Holy smokes, how do I pay attention to who's giving me guidance in my head? And so I don't know about you. I don't know how you are finding how to get much more clear direction. But this has become a really important topic for me. Can I hear direction clearly? And do I know who I'm listening to? Do I know? Because I think it matters. I really think it matters. To get clear direction, we know who the direction is coming from. Isn't the devil's number one tactic distraction? So if he could give me some direction that is a distraction, I might veer off course. I might totally go off course and think I'm following direction, but man, I'm going somewhere. And then I realize, oh man, I'm totally not where I want to be. I think with how smart all of us are getting and how committed all of us are to our purpose and mission in life, I think he's going to try to be much more sneaky in his approach to derail us. So here's another story that's going to set up the example I'm going to give you. My wife and I, we are prayerful. And this one particular weekend, it was time to do taxes. And I don't know if you guys pray when you do your taxes, but we pray. Because back when we started our business, to be able to keep this organized, what we do as presenters and mentors, we need to keep all of our facts in line, and what's taxes and what's not taxes and that kind of stuff. And so we attempted to do a lot of our tax work by ourselves, and oh my goodness, I wasn't quite in on how to do it, so Kim gave me the job to tape receipts on blank pieces of paper. So my job was to tape receipts. That way I could stay out of trouble, just tape receipts, tape receipts. Well, we hit this one part in doing taxes that we didn't know what to do. And it was on a weekend, and we didn't have anybody to call. And so we're talking, Kim and I are talking, and we said, well, do you think it's legal to pray for help with taxes? Because isn't taxes from the devil? I mean, and we're kind of joking, we're just kind of joking about it. We're like, oh, that's funny, that's funny. But then we're looking at each other going, no, I think it's okay to pray for taxes and help. And so as we're considering to pray, we're like, okay, how are we going to phrase this prayer? Do we say, dear Heavenly Father or dear God, can you help us? We're trying to figure out how to, put the money where it needs to go so we can stay legal in what we do. Is that what we say? Okay, I think that's what we say. And I said, hey, Kim, you know what we ought to do? I said, something I've been practicing is, I bet there's people who have died who take care of taxes who made it to heaven. I think there's a few. So I think there's people who died who do taxes that are in heaven. What if we asked if one of them could come help us? And she goes, you mean right here with us? And I go, what are we going to get in trouble for asking that? Let's ask God if he's okay if he sends a tax guy to us. She's like, all right, we're kind of don't know what to do. Let's try the tax guy from heaven thing out. Let's see how this works out. So we took a prayer there, and we prayed, and we're very respectful to respect authority and the order of heaven, because it's all organized. It's all organized, and you must pray in ways to ask permission if it is allowed for that to happen. And we both said amen, and then we kind of looked at each other like, I think we just prayed for a tax man to come help us from heaven. And what do you do then? Well, you just get back to work. So we're doing our stuff, and a few minutes go by, and then I hear this noise. And Kim's back's to me because she's typing on the computer, and I said, honey, are you okay? And she turns around in her chair, and she just has tears streaming down her face. I'm like, what happened? Do we have bad numbers or something? Are we worse off than what I thought? And I'm scared and everything? And she goes, no, he's Irish. Irish? Yeah. Well, who are we talking about? She goes, I'm being taught what to do. I go, you are? And she goes, yeah, I just asked how I should move these numbers and how I should, do they go on this list or this list? She goes, I'm being taught where to put this information so that it works out the right way, so it's right. And I go, how do you know it's Irish? I can hear his accent. You can hear his accent? Yeah, I hear his accent. And I go, do the accent for me. I can't do Irish accents. And she goes, and he smells Irish. Smells? I go, I can't smell him. He's right here. I was like, oh man, I'm missing out. And I go, I'll be quiet. You just work with the Irish guy. Okay, I gotta go. He's telling me some stuff. And she sat there in her chair just listening and doing things. And then I started to bawl. And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, he's telling me what to do. Like the receipts I'm taping are not in the right spot and I need to move stuff around. And we're both crying over this Irish man who is dead and in heaven who got permission to come back to help the Duncans on a Saturday do their taxes. If you hear the story, if you listen to the story, you notice that Kim and I pay very close attention in listening to the voice. Really closely listen. Because when we hear a voice giving us instruction, our heart stays calm and warm. When it's a voice that it has a different sound to it. I'm not talking like a tone or a different personality. No, I'm talking like voice from heaven, whatever guardian or messenger it is, they have a sound that warms our heart. And the others that come from the hurt place where they're trying to hurt us, they have a different sound to their voice, a different sound. And when you hear that voice, you have a different feeling in your heart. So if you notice and you hear the equation here, I listen with my external ears and my internal ears. I got external eyes and internal eyes, external ears and internal ears. And my internal ears are connected to my heart. My inside eyes are connected to my heart because that's a sense of what's going on, a sense. It's a feeling. It's a sense. And as Kim and I have been developing our ability to listen and be in tune, if we get into our head and it's only a head game of listening and trying to do this, we can get deceived and distracted. But when we check in with our heart, it's our heart that confirms or clarifies if this is a voice we ought to listen to. The miracles and the incredible opportunities that we've had to have guidance and direction, I know has come from the fact that we use internal ways of listening. So that means my heart. Okay, so my heart needs to play a part, Kirk. You're like, I can't just listen for being in tune. I can't just listen for it. It's like you can, but you might get deceived because, man, the devil and his minions are super sneaky. They sound like just any normal person, but they have this little tiny sound in their voice that is different, and you can feel it in your heart. Okay, so how do you get your heart in the right place? How do you do that? Okay, write this down. Write this down. To get your heart in the right place, number one, it requires that I must like my body. I must like who I am. When I look in the mirror, if I hate any part of my body, if I'm disgusted with any part of my body, that is of the devil. The devil wants me to hate my body, so I desire to be separate from it. The devil wants me to hate it, because if I hate it, I want to get rid of it. And boy, if he can assist me in getting separate from my body, he's going to jump in and help that situation. So a way to bring me back together means whatever jiggly I got going on my whatever muffin top style I have, whatever part of my body that's just like, man, I don't know if that's correctly built, I sit there and I must respect and honor my body. Respect and honor and take good care of it, because then I show love and appreciation for my body. So for me to have a heart that can sense and feel the direction of where I need to go and sense that, to decipher between the devil and heaven, I got to be able to put myself in a place to receive that kind of clarity so I don't get deceived. But the devil's game is to get me to hate my body. And I know it. I know that's one of his tactics, is to get me to hate my body. If my feet are too big, or I'm too tall, or maybe I got one hair that grows 3 inches out of my ear every 4 days and it drives me crazy, and maybe my eyes are crooked. Maybe when I walk, I kind of wobble, and maybe I just got too much jiggly, and I'm shy and embarrassed about that. Embarrassed about your body, ashamed of your body, is those signs of not liking your body. And you will struggle having your heart in a place to listen. That's number one. The devil wants us to hate our body, so we want to get rid of it, and he's there to jump in to help when that happens. Okay, number two, I must highly respect and equally admire the male and female differences. The male and female differences, and never, ever compare male and female in their attributes, in their skill level, in their smart level, in any comparison at all. Should never be compared. Let women be women, let men be men. But have no comparison. Like men are better, or men are worse, or women are better, or women are worse. But if I have any comparison, that's a disgrace to the two that God created. God created Adam and Eve, two different beings. And if I go to disgrace one or the other, or, oh, I can't stand women, oh, I can't stand men, you go to not stand one of them, what you did is you just separated the two. And that goes against God, which then it causes you to go join the devil in his work to separate the two. when God created them as equal. And to never, ever, ever compare daughter against son. Never compare son to son, daughter to daughter, daughter to son. No comparison amongst people. None. Comparison creates separation. Separation is of the devil. Joining and becoming together and becoming one is all heaven work. So if I want to have a heart of gold that I can sense and understand the voices that I'm hearing and which one do I follow, I got to stop the comparison. Stop the comparison. Number one is to love who I am, love my body. Number two is to stop the comparison. Number three. When I care for this planet, I care for where my flesh came from the earth. Adam and Eve, Adam was brought from the earth. And if I don't care for the planet, and I don't pick up that piece of trash, or I don't care for it in the ways that I can, it seems like Adam and Eve are commanded to go and care for the garden, to dress the garden. And so it's like, hey, this is what you come from. You're actually connected, and part of your family line is Mother Earth. And if I don't take care of Mother Earth, then I'm disgracing one of those incredible relationships that I have. And then my ability to sense what's true and what's not true goes down. So to care for my yard, care for the flower bed, care for that weed patch, care for those things. When we don't care, we lose a little bit of connection to that ability to be in tune. Now, just with these three, you probably have some work to do. So very gently, bump the person next to you and just let them know, you got some work to do on those three, by the way. Yeah, you got some work to do. Just bump the person next to you. And boy, is that not true or what, right? It's true. It is true. Like, oh man, Kirk, I didn't know that these things affect my state of heart and how I feel and how I can sense things. Can I give you number 4? Okay. Here's a number 4. I feel like I can share number 4. I feel like I'm in good space. I can share number 4. Number 4 is your tummy. Right here, your tummy. Even if it's got some jiggly and it's still gooey, I mean, like, get a hold of your tummy for a second. Grab some. I know this video is going all over the world. Grab some tummy. Right? Okay, hands up. Grab somebody else's tummy. No. That'd freak us all out. We draw the line. Okay, let's go back to our own tummy. Okay, we get some of our own tummy. Now, hear me out on this one. Oh, this is a devil sneaky tactic like no other. Okay, hear this one out. When I don't like my tummy, which I'm not the only one in here who's ever dealt with having tummy issues of like, serious? You know, you look in the mirror and it's like, wow, that's a gut. I mean, a tummy. I've gone through my time in my life of not liking my tummy because of the shape or what extra I might have. So check this out. The devil is going to jump in on that one. And let me tell you why. Because if he can stir me to a dislike for my tummy. Okay, so I dislike my tummy. I am sending negative feelings, hurtful feelings, right here. Right here. And even if you try to tell me, Oh, my negative thoughts don't hurt my tummy. Oh, go say those thoughts to a 6-year-old. And you'd be like, oh, I'd never say that to a 6-year-old. Why? Because it would crush him. Well, guess what it's doing to your tummy? It's hurting you. Now check this out. Sending frustration, hate, anger, disgust, shame, embarrassment to your tummy. Look, in your tummy, it gathers together. And what's right in the middle? Your umbilical cord, that now that energy, energetically, goes right to your mom. All that hurt energy transfers back to mom. And now you are literally pointing this hurt energy at your mom. Now, okay, mom didn't just have a baby by herself. Somebody else is involved. Dad. So now it goes back to mom, arcs over to dad. These two beings are your earthly creators. And you literally are sending this negative energy towards your earthly creators, which then in your subconscious goes, well, if we think this way about our earthly creators, in my mind, creator, oh, God's in there too. Let's just send this to God too. And so the devil gets us mad at our tummy. We hate our tummy. We're disgusted with our tummy. But we don't consider the path it follows back. And when we start to drive distance between us and our parents, and we didn't even know we're doing it. Did not even know we're doing it. But it creates distance between us and our parents as creators, then between us and God as a creator. How are we supposed to interpret the voice in our head? We're being separated from it. But this is a sneaky one. Man, I try to figure out the devil's little sneaky tactics because, man, he's come at me from so many ways. And it's like, one thing I learned about being a warrior on this planet, you must know the tactics of the enemy if you're going to win the war. You have to know his tactics. Not just think, oh, he's out there somewhere. I wonder what he's doing. Oh, he's doing something to me today. Where is he coming at me today? I'm going to catch it. But number 4 is a big one. And so what do we do, Kirk, about this one? You do some love moments with your tummy. Let's all have a love moment with our tummy. Let's all have a love moment. And I know some of you are going, I ain't doing this. Grab your tummy. Come on, your tummy needs some love. Put a palm right over your belly button. Take your other palm, place it over the top. I just let all that warm, gooey love just go right into your tummy. Huh. When you go home tonight and they say, so what'd you learn? Gooey loved for the tummy. Oh, this is a good one, though. You took your hands off. Stop. Keep going. I'm watching you, man. I care about you. Okay. Hold tight for a moment. Okay, ready? Switch. Now, instead of thinking, this is stupid, you're sending stupid to your tummy. Don't think stupid. Just think, okay, different. Didn't know this. Willing to try. About ready to start to make me laugh. But some tummy loving. Just love your tummy. Okay. I think we reached a critical mass of creepy. Okay, let go. Let go. Good. Tummy good? Did you get the path, what happens? What do you think? Do you think that's true? Yeah. Tell me if you think it's true. Yeah. Okay, it's solid. It's solid. You send that here. It's going to travel. It's going to connect because energy follows trails. Just because your flesh umbilical cord is gone doesn't mean you've been disconnected energetically from your mom. Energetically, it goes back, arcs over to dad. They're your creators. Now your heart goes, oh, yeah, we're kind of dissing on our creators. Okay, so we ought to not be connected to our creators. Not connected here because I'm sending this to my tummy. Another thing that happens is, here's number 5. Here's number 5. Here's number 5. Okay, tell me you're ready for number 5. Okay, another sneaky tactic by the devil. Time management. Okay, time is a gift from God. Time is a gift from God. I know most of the time we think it's from the devil, and it's a pain, and it's terrible, and it's rough, but time is a gift from God. God decided time. But how many times in a day do you complain about not having enough time? Or you blame it. You know, if I just would have had more time, I could have done this. So blame becomes this external place to point all the fingers. It's almost like it's its own entity, and it stands next to you wherever you go. And somebody goes, did you get that done? No, it was totally time's fault. I didn't have enough time. And time's over here going, quit blaming me. And you're over here just going, no, it was you. It wasn't me. Time is to teach us self-mastery of creation. Self-mastery of creation. If we can't show up on time, finish things on time, how are we ever going to learn how to manage elements to be able to build planets and solar systems? Man, that's too big to think. But maybe we are learning how to create. And time also demands efficiency, meaning learning how to say no. And too many of us say yes, too many times. So time, boy, the devil loves this one. Man, if he could get you all wound up about time and complaining about it and moaning and groaning about it, he's just going to sit there and just go, you are destroying yourself, and I love it. He just sits there and laughs at us while we're like, oh, time this, time that, and if I had more time. It's like, no. We got to realize, wait a second. Where'd time come from? Oh, God designed it for us. Okay, if he did it for us, it must be something good for me. I mean, I need to bend me to obey time. Instead of trying to control time, maybe it's something here to teach us. But if we bark and moan about time, man, we are separating ourselves of a gift of God, gift of our higher power. And for us to consider, wow, how many times do you hear other people complaining about it? So hear me out on this. When you set the alarm for 6 o'clock and you get up at 6, how do you feel? You set the alarm for 6. You said, I got to get up at 6. When you get up at 6, how do you feel? You feel good. When you set an alarm for 6 and you got up at 6:15, how do you feel? Oh, there's an instant drop in energy. And when we follow it, what we said we were going to do, there's a boost. There's some kind of power there for us to use to work through our life. And I'll tell you, when I am on, when I'm totally on with being in tune and being able to sort out the voices in my head, when I'm on, it's because I've been honoring time, which is number 5, and number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. When I check into these 5 things, boy, it can dial me in. And these are just those weird, odd ways that the adversary, the devil's working on us to get us to weaken down. And we didn't even know what was going on. Oh. So take your hand, put it right here. I forgive myself. Didn't even know most of this. And I forgive myself. But I can see. I got some work I got to do. And I'm willing to commit to work on this. And tomorrow, when I mess up, I'm going to forgive myself again. Because I got 5 things to get better at. And even the next day, when I mess up more, I'm still going to forgive myself. I'm still going to forgive myself. I'm still going to forgive myself. Okay, high five somebody next to you and just tell them, you just got smarter, my friend. You just got smarter. Smarter. Okay, I got to draw you a picture. Draw this on your, if you got a piece of paper, or maybe you can draw it on your phone or something like that. Here's me, and over here I have a red, what I call a dot person. Do we get the dots? Like the dots mean that there's no body, but it's a spirit or a soul, and it's red. So what does that mean? Red is bad. Red is bad. Okay, then over here, I've got a blue one. This is blue. And I have a blue dot person. That means good. Here's me. I got a blue dot person. I got a red dot person. And I'm not quite sure what you believe about what happens when you die. I'm not quite sure what you believe, but there are people who believe that we have a flesh and a soul. Like we have this soul side. And kids have said that they've seen the souls of other people. Kids say this. Adults say this. Different religious organizations say that there's a physical side and a spiritual side. And when we die, the two separate. And in this world right now, there are some of these that roam around, and some of these show up to teach us, and these show up to mess us up. So these are here to teach us, and these are here to cause us to mess up. Now, the green dot people, I'm going to call the people who are in my past. Okay, so this is my scoutmaster, all my teachers through school, my friend down the street. It's all these people in my past that physically I don't see them around me, but they have a voice inside my head. They have a voice inside my head. And so what happens is this. I am being talked to often during the day. This one's trying to talk to me. This one's trying to talk to me. And this one's throwing in their comments all the time too. And then I also have my own voice that is inside my head. Now, I was reading a Scientific American magazine. Now, this is science. It's been a good 3-4 years ago, though, when I read this. I was at a Barnes & Noble, and I saw on the cover, scientists discover that people have multiple personalities. I thought, okay, I'll read this one. So I start to read it, and it starts to talk about that people hear voices inside their head that are not their own. And scientists are interested. Where before, they would stick you in when you would say, I hear people in my head. And they go, oh, we got a jacket just for you. And you're out. But now what happens is scientists are like, really? Who's talking to you? Really? Who's talking to you? Really? Who's talking to you? And I found that very fascinating in that magazine, that for a way for me to identify if I'm receiving guidance that is good for me, I ask, who's talking to me? Who is this? Seems simple, doesn't it? If I hear a comment in my mind that isn't mine, I can ask, hey, who is this? This is me checking in with my heart. Because there's all kind of jibber jabber going on, blah, 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 all this stuff all day long. But then when it comes to like making decisions about where I should go and what I should do next, I start hearing advice come from different directions. And it's like, man, I feel like I should do this or do this or do this, and I don't know what to do. There's too many decisions. Would you agree that you still have decisions that you have not made, and it's past the due date? Would you agree? 2 or 3 of you, or how many? Show me. How many? Okay, just for the record, most of them. And I raise my hand too. Indecision is a sign of distraction. Indecision. And people say, well, I just don't have enough information yet. Okay, make a partial decision. You see, to move forward in life, we need to make decisions. And when we don't make a decision, it's because it's still swirling. You know, if you're still doing research or asking people questions and you literally and legitimately are doing that, well, that's legitimate, but by when are you going to make a decision? Oh, I'm still thinking about it. Okay, what I think's going on is you have a debate going on. You got a debate going on. And this is what can happen. You may get some guidance from a blue and get guidance from your past going, hey, you ought to take this action. And then right after that thought, the thought comes in, no, you don't do that. That's weird. And you're sitting in your head going, oh, okay, this must be all my own voice, and I'm having my own debate with 3 different parts of me. But you know you have this happen. Tell me, true? True? You have it happen all the time. You're trying to make a decision. You go, okay, I know what I need to do. And then you hear these supporting voices, yeah, I should do that. But then it comes in. What? Are you sure? I mean, what's Joe going to think about your decision? Oh, that's right. I didn't think about Joe's watching me. I better reconsider this. That creates indecision. And indecision costs you time. And time is your life. So let me rephrase that. Indecision costs you a portion of your life. What? So one of the devil's tactics is to get me to be indecisive, so I cost myself moments of my life? Yep. And he loves to throw in the little doubtful comments, the little like, are you sure? What about your neighbors? What are they going to think when you do this? Oh, yeah, okay, we need to rethink this. But you were so on until that voice showed up. Okay, raise your hand if that's happened to you before. Raise your hand. Oh, look, we're all part of the same human family. Yep. Okay, when I started realizing it's not just costing me time, but my life has 100 years. And if an indecision is costing me time, it's costing me portions of my life. What? I got to get through this indecision stuff. I got to get my heart in a place where I got a heart of gold that can sense the value statements that come from heaven and probably my past. There's probably some great people in your past that's got great advice for you. Tell me if this is making sense. Is this making some sense? Yes. Okay, is this important to you? Yes. To me, it hits a core of a problem we have in families, a problem we have in marriages, a problem that kids are facing every day. I think what's lacking is this: training in a home to teach our children really how to decipher what's going on in their head. I don't think it's being taught enough. I don't think it's a conversation between husband and wife enough. To like, hey, honey, did you have any decisions today that caused indecision? Or any moments where it caused indecision? Oh, yeah, really? Let's talk about it. Let's sort this out so we can make decisions and get going. It's not in conversation. Gathering the kids around the dinner table. Hey, so did anybody have the devil talk to them today? Little Joey goes, yeah, devil's after me. Oh, hey, everybody, what do you guys think? Joey's getting attacked by the devil. What should we do? Hey, pass the dessert. Go ahead, tell us, Joey, what do you think we should do? It's not being talked about. It's like, okay, let's pretend like it's not going on, and we just figure everybody's going to figure it out all by themselves. And let's all look at each other like, how you doing? Fine. I think don't know what voice to listen to today because I got to make a really big decision. Wow. I hope if anything tonight, we're not done yet, but I hope if anything tonight, I've raised your awareness to go, hey, I want my kids to be aware. I want my grandkids to be aware. I want to be aware. Who's done wandering and indecision? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, make a noise, loud noise. Okay, and sorry, on a little bit of a squirrel chase here for a moment. I don't know what you know about indecision, but indecision causes teeth problems. Indecision causes teeth to all of a sudden hurt. Indecision causes a pain down the right side of your neck that goes right to your right shoulder blade and pops a bone out of place all the time. You literally, indecision, you know how turkeys have that little red button and you cook it for a while and then it pops the button out? When indecision heats up inside of you, it pops a muscle out, and so your turkey button came out. So right now, just pat the person on the back next to you and just tell them, I'm just pushing your turkey button back in. Okay? Just pushing your turkey button back in. You're like, is it poking out? I just want to feel it. Where is it? Where is it? Just pat them on the back and tell them, we're going to get that turkey button back in. But indecision has a dramatic effect. I'm still on my little squirrel chase here, but can I tell you a little bit more about indecision? Okay, indecision starts in the teeth area and in the neck, one side of the neck. It goes right down your shoulder blade, crosses over your lower back and over to the other knee, and then down to the ankle. So it goes teeth, neck, shoulder blade, cuts across, hits the knee, goes down to the foot. So whichever way it starts on you, and watch this, watch. Whack, whack, whack. It just takes you apart. It cuts you apart. So indecision creates health issues. There's a big price we pay. So I think the 5 that I gave you ought to be considered about loving your tummy and honoring and respecting time and never, ever dissing on time again. No, it's you, not time. It's you. Own it, don't blame time. And all the other of those 5 I shared with you, that's something to be conscious of. And those are all doable. So your heart can be more sensitive. So when you're in these situations and you are getting good, clear guidance, and you know you're getting good, clear guidance, then you can catch this little sneaky war that comes in, that throws you into, oh, maybe I shouldn't, kind of thinking. Okay, imagine, just for a moment, if you had that happening where you could catch that and hold to your decisions in those moments, how would it feel moving forward? How would it feel? Man, you'd feel like you got progress. And us as people, we crave progress. When we don't feel like we're having progress, we get all bummed out. You're like, serious, man, nothing's moving. So let me tell you the whole equation backwards. We love progress. To have progress, we must make decisions. To make decisions, we are going to do better at interpreting what we're hearing as guidance. What's going on inside our mind is guidance. And how we're going to get better at guidance in our head is to take care of our heart that senses if what we're listening to is the right voice to listen to. And the way we take care of our heart is those 5 things I gave you to do. So literally I've set you up to create a heart of gold that you can count on. You can count on. And my friends, guaranteed, somebody around you on a daily basis is wondering if they're going the right way, if they're doing the right thing. So in my life, there's many ways I attempt to share my experience and my wisdom with people. And one of the ways I do it is I record trainings. It's like a 1-hour mentoring session. You know, I could take an hour and I record some information and give instruction. And so every one of my recordings is literally a mentoring session. It's not just information, it's action steps, what to do. And we had a husband and wife come to Master Your Influence, and they got like the whole library of 3 Kilometers audios. They took them home, and they put them in the closet. Okay? Oh, yeah, we're going to get to those later. Well, their little boy named Talmadge was messing around one day and got in the closet and found all these audios. So he started opening them. And he opened one of them and knew that it was a CD and went and found a CD player and played it in his CD player and was just listening to it in his bedroom, just started listening to it. And he started working his way through the library. And he's learning a bunch of things about life, just listening to these things. And his dad named Chris, he would work night shift, and he would come home super, super late at night. And he'd come home to find Talmadge laying in his bed with the CD player sitting on his chest. And he would walk in, and he would hear Kirk Duncan going, and what you need to do next is, and I'm like teaching and training, and Talmadge is just like, just sleeping and just getting trained while he's laying there. He's just laying there. And so he started to fill his head full of a voice. So he, Talmadge, chose to add me as a voice in his head because he's listening to these audios. Well, this one particular day, this evening, he couldn't sleep. And he came into his mom and dad's room, and he's like, Dad. And Chris is like, what? What's going on? He goes, I can't sleep. And he goes, really? Maybe you should take your socks off, then you can sleep. Because Talmadge had a habit of going to bed at night with his socks on. And so he says, well, just take your socks off and try going to sleep without your socks. So Talmadge went into his room, took his socks off, still couldn't sleep, and he came back into his mom and dad's bedroom, and he goes, Dad, I still can't sleep, and I took my socks off. And he's like, okay, so if Kirk Duncan was here, what would he have you do? And he goes, oh, well, Kirk would say, God's trying to talk to me, and I should go right to God. And he goes, yeah, go do that. And he goes back to sleep. Well, Talmadge is gone for a while, and he comes back in the room, and he goes, Dad, can you wake back up? Talmadge? And he goes, Dad. So I did it. And Talmadge is 7. He's like, so what'd you do? And he goes, I wrote to God. You did? What happened? He wrote me back. Honey, wake up. Honey, huh? His wife wakes up. What's going on? Talmadge just talked to God, and God wrote back. What? I thought it was just socks. No, it's God. It's God. We're talking about God now. Okay, so they both sit in bed, and they're like, okay, tell us what happened. He goes, well, Kirk says that when you can't sleep, it's because you have an appointment with God with your soul. And so your soul wakes up, and it makes your body wake up. And so you can't sleep, and when you can't sleep, you just got to get up and go right to God. So I got my journal, and I wrote to God. I'm like, well, what'd you say? Oh, well, let me show you my journal, because Kirk says you should keep a journal of what God tells you what to do. So I wrote it in my journal. So can I read it to you? And his parents are like sitting on, straight up in bed like, sure, tell us about your discussion with God. Okay, all right. So he opens up his journal, and he pulls out his letter of what happened. And this is a picture of Talmadge holding his journal, and I have a picture of his journal that he's holding in front of me because I actually got the privilege to hear this story straight from his dad's mouth about this experience that he had. And so I said, man, if you can give me a picture of what happened. I mean, this is tender, super tender. And so in Talmage's journal, the first thing he wrote in his journal was this: Dear Heavenly Father, why can't I sleep? Do you need me for something? From Talmage. Big smiley face. And then his parents are sitting there in bed. Okay, what happened next? Well, Kirk teaches you that what you do is you put your pencil on the paper, and you're right, dear Talmage. And then you put your pencil there, and you just wait. And you'll be able to hear his voice talk to you. So that's what I did, Mommy. I wrote, Dear Talmage, like God was going to talk to me. And right now, his mom's just got tears coming down her face. Like, okay. And so you held your pencil on the paper, and then what happened? Well, then I heard him talk to me. I heard his voice, Mommy. You did? What does he sound like? He's really a nice man. And he talked right to me. And this is what he said, Mom. He said, Dear Talmage, you are wonderful. You are nice to other people. I need you to recognize you are meant for something. ... Something great and powerful. You can change the world. Just please choose the right. Sincerely, Heavenly Father. And he's standing at the edge of the bed, showing his mom and dad that he could hear his higher power talk to him at 7. And his parents are like crying, and he's like, Mommy, Dad, you guys okay? Yeah, this is really cool. Mommy, you sure? You're crying a lot. Yeah, I'm okay. And they bring him into the bed, and they set the journal to the side, and they just snuggle with him. Because is there anything more important to us as parents than to know that our children can find direction in their life? You see, what Talmage learned how to do is number 6. Number 6. If you want to learn the voice of heaven, write to heaven. Write to heaven. Write to the God that's in heaven. And if you want to call him Heavenly Father or call him God, but write him a letter. But do it the way that Talmage did it. He learned from me, but let's call it Talmage's way for a moment. Talmage says, first what you do, and this is what he heard on the CD that I trained him on, is that first you write to God yourself, as though you're striking up the conversation. Like you are tuning your mind into searching for God or your source, your truth, your higher power. But you're finding this connection between you and the source of truth. But you are literally taking an action and reaching out to make it happen. And how many of us are like sitting around waiting for inspiration? It's like, let's activate it. Let's start the discussion. Let's start the conversation. And so he writes and says, Hi, do you have need of me? Is there anything I can do? And as you go to write to your higher power, I think what happens, and this is my understanding so far, is I think when we go to write it down, it actually helps us stay focused. This is no way replace prayer. No how, no way. I still pray. I still kneel on both knees to make sure I activate every part of my mind to be submissive and teachable to my higher power. It does not replace prayer at all. I add this to what I'm doing because I've found too many times in my life, I wake up with a kinked neck and slobber and drool down my face because I fell asleep during my prayer. Am I the only one? I am the only one? No. Well, there's two of us. I think there's more of us. It's like, oh, my mind is so going fast. I need something to help me focus. So I want to get in tune. I want to have a heart of gold. I want to be able to discern what is going on in this conversation in my head. I want to be able to dial in. So if I want to dial in and knowing the sound of God, maybe I ought to become pen pals with him. Maybe I ought to write him letters, and maybe I ought to, at the end of the letter, keep my pen on the paper, my fingers on the keyboard, and listen if he has something to share back. Because I've dialed myself in by calling out, reaching out. It's almost like I'm dialing the phone number of where he is. You know, it's almost like this. It's like if we were to pick up a phone and never dial a phone number and just go, hello, 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 we got nobody to talk to. There's nothing there. But if we dial the phone number, meaning do what it takes to connect, we then can hear that person's voice. And so a great technique to help work your heart to be super high level in tune is we got to reach out in a focused, written way. Be it a journaling, type it on your computer, or writing it down, however you're going to do this. But I don't think we have good enough focus. I don't think you have good enough focus. I don't think you have the ability to hyper-focus without using something externally to keep you focused and getting in tune. Now, there's probably 3 people in the room that can do it. But the other, right now we probably have about 600-700 people in the room. The rest of you, it's not going to happen unless we get involved in dialing in. Literally, dear God, dear source, dear higher power, I have a question. I have a concern. I have a worry. What do I do about my son? What do I do about this? How do I adjust my health? How do I let go of that last 10 pounds? Help me. Love, Kirk. Then at the bottom, I put, Dear Kirk. And then I get to practice being a great listener. I get to practice being a great listener by staying in the moment and just listening. My heart has been softened because of the letter I wrote, which is now my heart's in a good space to discern that this is a good voice, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to type whatever comes to me, and I'm just going to listen carefully. And then I put love, Heavenly Father at the end. Boy, then I save those. Put them in a journal, put them on a file on my computer, because that is training my mind to listen. And because I wrote first and expressed all my challenges and my humanness, it softens my heart. Oh, Kirk, this only works for church people. I had a client come to me, super businessman. And he says this, okay, I need to get some direction for my business, and I need to know what you as a mentor can teach me how to do this. I said, hey, I know the way to make it work, get you super dialed up and connected to your direction. Okay, you willing to try anything? Yeah. Okay, just so you know, it's going to test you. I know. I go, are you a God-fearing man, or you study religion at all, or church? And he goes, nope, nothing. I go, do you believe there's a God? Nope. Okay, we're going to go a little bit of a different route. He goes, okay. And I said, I need you to pick a higher power. And he goes, what does that mean? I go, something big that you can believe in. And this is what he did. Looks out the window. I pick that mountain. I said, cool. What do you want to call the mountain? I choose to call this big mountain the mountain. Okay, cool. So your higher power is going to be called the mountain. He goes, yeah, it's going to be really cool. And I go, cool. What I want you to do tonight is I want you to write a letter to the mountain. He goes, what am I going to say? Tell him all your problems. Tell him all your challenges. Tell him what you're struggling with. And put Dear Mountain. Why would I write him out? I go, you hired me. Hang in there. And he goes, well, what do I do after I write the mountain? I go, at the end, then you're going to put Dear Troy. Hi, it's the mountain. I have some advice for you. And then you're going to sit there and listen to the mountain give you advice. He goes, I paid you way too much money for this stuff here. I know. You paid me $25,000 to mentor you on things about your business, but you are lost. And you need guidance. And you need training. And tonight you're going to write to the mountain. All right. It's weird, but I'll do it. I said, and then leave me a message tomorrow on my phone and tell me how it turns out. So he goes off, and next morning I get a voicemail, and it goes something like this. Hey, Kirk, I just want to leave you a message. Don't tell anybody, but the mountain talked. What am I supposed to do with this information from a pile of rocks and dirt? He goes, it literally gave me guidance for my business. And he goes on to complain, Kirk, a mountain cannot know about my business. So I call him up. He's in a meeting, so I leave a message. Troy, do what the mountain said. He texts me, this is weird crap, man. I text back, Troy, do it. So he acts on the pile of dirt and rocks advice. His buddies in the office are freaking out of what just happened, of how well it turned out. A week later, after that experience, he comes back to his next appointment, and he walks in. So, I was going into a meeting the other day. I said, yeah. Didn't have time to write. So, I stopped on the sidewalk. And I'll admit it, I looked at the mountain. And I asked, I don't know what to do in this meeting. And I'm sitting there just trying to contain myself. And he goes, ugh. So I asked the mountain, and I'm standing on the sidewalk, and an idea came to me. Troy, what'd you do? Well, I did it. I did the idea in the meeting. I go, how'd it work out? And he goes, oh my goodness, I look like I'm smart. I look like I know what I'm doing. He goes, I don't understand this. You have twisted my world. I don't understand how a rock can give me advice. And I go, remember, I just asked you to pick something that you can talk to. And he goes, wow. He goes, I can't tell anybody where I'm getting this advice. My partners are going, where'd you get this advice? And he goes, what am I supposed to do? I wrote the mountain. Do you know how that's going to go over in a meeting? That's just not going to work. I just have to tell people. Kirk, I have to literally tell people, it was an impression. And he goes, I don't use that language. But I have to tell him it was an impression. They're like, you get impressed? You have an impression? And he goes, so I'm getting impressions. And he goes, oh, and he's just disturbed. So he's sitting there for a moment, just kind of blowing smoke and everything. And he goes, so in the beginning, I remember you saying, if I had a higher power. Hey, Kirk, who's your higher power? And I said, oh, go ask your mountain. Okay. Most fascinating mentoring experience I've ever had in my life. He found a connection to a source of truth. No church, no religious background, doesn't read scriptures, doesn't say his prayers, no nothing. But when he dialed his mind in and he softened his heart to tell his problems and to tell what he's struggling with, and he did this, and then he asked for guidance. After he softened his heart, he asked for guidance, and here comes this guidance. And I got to tell you, man, I'm praying at home going, okay, dear Heavenly Father, did I just mess up a soul? And I just remember Heavenly Father standing up in heaven just going, that's a good one. He goes, that's a halfway mark for him finding where truth comes from. He's not worshiping the mountain. He's just trying to find direction. I've sent people out to write to trees and to rocks and to lakes and rivers and forests, and they can find direction. The thing is, we must go through some steps to be able to find this direction. But if you hear the behind-the-scenes story, and I want to call it out, we must tell of our troubles. That's number 7. Number 7 is to tell of our troubles. You know how you go to talk to your higher power and you're like, yeah, I got some problems, I got some things. Can you help me out? Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? I'm good. Some of us don't really tell our problems like they're really problems. We just tell it like it's information. We don't sit there and just like get into our problem. We don't tell our problems. We don't tell them like they really are happening. Now, some of you do, but man, there's a lot of us that don't. And when we tell our problems, we literally take our heart and break it open and just pour it out. As part of softening our heart is admitting to our frailties, admitting to our mistakes, admitting that we don't know what to do, admitting we messed up somebody else's life and we made mistakes, and we're pleading for training and teachers to show up in our life. That's part of working our heart, to be open to hear. Wow. What do you think about those 7? Does it make some sense? Yes. Is there any of these 7 you could test and try in the next couple days? Is there any? Yeah? Okay, just shake the person next to you just a little bit. Just shake them on the arm and just tell them, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. So, in this experience here about what's happening here, I got a demonstration to show you that I think is takes it to another level, but I got a demonstration to show you. And I need 4 volunteers to help me with this demonstration. 4 volunteers. 4 volunteers who will work with me and not damage me. Okay, super important. Don't damage me on this experience. We're going to kind of create it together and do a show and tell about what else the devil's doing to us. And it's really tearing and messing up our heart and makes it tough for us to interpret what's going on in our life. Okay, 4 great souls. And I'm going to have 2 guys and 2 girls. That way we can balance the power here of what's happening. Okay, 3rd row, 2nd lady in, right there. If you would come up, please. Guy right there on the end, is that a gray shirt? Come on up. Okay, I'm going to reach further out here. Let's go way over there, the guy in the wild circle thing on his shirt. You're right there? No, look down at you. That's on your shirt. Yeah, look at your shirt. That guy right there. Yeah, come on up here. And lady from over here. Lady. And let's go. So from the microphone, 4 down, right there. Would you come up here? Would you give a big round of applause to all 4 of my volunteers? Okay. Hey, Adam, do you have some ropes for me, please? Some ropes? Okay, promise you're going to be gentle with me. Promise? Promise? Don't hurt me. I'm valuable around here, like really big, big, big value. Hold on, I got to just move this out of the way. Just going to scoot this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Go ahead and hand those out. Hand those out to each person. Raise your hand in the room if you have ever heard of the terminology flaxen cord. Have you heard what a flaxen cord is? Okay, so scoot up. We're all friends here. So let me give you an example. My dad raised us with horses. And we'd go on horsebacking trips and, go ride horses and things like that. And sometimes when we would go out into the field to catch the horses would see us and they'd just take off running the other direction. And so my dad would get a big bucket full of grain, kind of like candy to a horse, and he would shake the bucket, and the horse would be like, "Oh, that's candy." And they'd come running over, and my dad would put a piece of the, like on hay bales, that hay bale twine, and he would he'd hold on to one end of it, tie it around his hand, and then he'd wad up the rest of it, and while they're eating out of the bucket, he'd rub their neck, get up to the top of their neck, drop this little tiny soft cord down the other side of their neck. Then he would reach underneath, holding one end of the cord, grab the other end of the cord, and just tug on it. And the horse would feel like, "Oh, he's got me." So the horse would lift his head up and then go, "Oh, you got me." And then finish eating his candy. So he'd eat the rest of it. And so this little tiny cord could trap or catch the horse. Now, if you ever decide to read scripture, which is history about people who are seeking truth. It's history about people who are seeking truth. One of the authors and leaders and spiritual great leaders brought up the term flaxen cord. That this is a cord that is a way to catch or tie up or snare or hold back us as people. Like the devil uses these gentle cords on us to slowly take us into some type of being trapped. And so the devil uses these to kind of sneak them around us like they're ropes to get us tied up and bound up so we can't build and create in our life. So it's another way that he is sneaky about how he gets us. So that's what he does. So what I'm going to show you is a demonstration of how we take on flaxen cords. This is how it happens. From what I understand and that I've seen and personally experienced. So you get to be a minion that works for the devil. Now, the show Despicable Me has changed the minion to a cute little thing. So we'll just call you a devil worker. No, that sounds terrible. We could say you just work for hell. That's terrible too. How do you say this nicely? Demon? No. How about? Yeah, you're a red dot person. Okay, you're a red dot person. That's safe. Red. Okay, so your ropes here on one end has a loop, and you can drop the rest of it. And this one has a loop on it that can be tightened up. Now, who in the room has ever read C.S. Lewis' book called The Screwtape Letters? If you have not read that book, I would suggest getting it. C.S. Lewis gets quoted by many, many, many spiritual leaders because of his understanding about life. C.S. Lewis' book called The Screwtape Letters, just in a short of it, it's a series of letters between one of the devil's generals, and he is training a new devil on how to tempt somebody. And I know those of you who read the book go, but you need to tell more. No, we're going to keep it simple. And he's just training a new devil on how to tempt somebody. And so you watch this dialogue as this devil's being trained on how to take this guy down. And you're listening and learning like, oh my gosh, that's what they do. This is what they do. But one of the things I found fascinating in his book is that the red dot people, it was super important that they did not get caught. And it says in his book that when they get caught, they get punished for getting caught. Man, as soon as I read that, I'm all in and catching them. Does that make sense? Like, I'm going to catch them. I want to catch them wherever they're at. I want to catch them. So when you go to put this on my hand and you go to hold the cord, don't get caught. You want me to feel as though it's not even there. And you'll know when we get to the point of where you need to really hold on the rope. You'll feel that moment. Or we're gonna have a mess on stage. All right? So be ready for that. So when you go to put that loop in, you have yours, and when you go to put that on, it just drapes. It just hangs, undetected by the individual who's slowly being trapped. And they didn't even know it was happening. So as I make a statement that is damaging and hurting about myself, that is the time to put a flaxen cord on. Because what people don't understand is every damaging thought I say about myself, I welcome one of the devil's flaxen cords onto my arms. So I literally become trapped by my own negative thinking. It's like I give power to the devil. Wild. First time I ever got involved with this, I asked myself the question, how many flaxen cords do I have? And the number that came to me was thousands. No wonder I couldn't move forward. No wonder I felt trapped. It's like I couldn't even pick up my hands to do anything. And so as promised, we mentioned that you're going to learn something about body language. Watch what happens to my body language when I have my arms tied. When I see people and I see their body language, I can see how they're tied up, how they're trapped. Because some people try to use their hands to speak, and it looks like their hands are stopped or caught. And it's an indicator, man, they got flaxen cords. They got to get those things off of them. Man, they've been saying too much stuff to them because it looks like they can't move very well compared to what they could do. And we'll show everybody how this works. Hey, will you hold something for me? That's not going to work in my pocket. Okay, so I'm going to talk about myself, and when I say something damaging, you just slide that right on, okay? Then after you do that, you want to back up, still holding onto your rope, but not too tight because you'll get busted. You'll get caught. You'll get penalized. Don't get caught. Don't get caught. Okay? And you, by the way, after this is over, you're fully released of your calling to be a devil. Okay? So you're, okay, we're just demonstrating here. Demonstrating. Okay. Okay. So what happens, let me just shift gears into me demonstrating. All right. So the other day I was working on a project at home, and halfway through the project, I totally busted a piece in the project. Man, I just can't do anything right. I mean, every time I do something wrong, I'm just stupid. Now, notice, my perception as a common person, I can say negative things and it doesn't do anything to me. Doesn't do anything. And this is what the common person thinks. The common person thinks they can cut themselves down, say negative comments, and just rattle off hurtful things in their head, and they think there's no damage that's happening to them. And they also think it doesn't do anything, it's not even causing the devil to get in their life and actually start to trap them. Because look what they do. Look what they do. They don't just grab a hold of us, they slide cords over our hands. So I hope this image is helping you understand that people who are like, oh, I can be negative, I can say negative thoughts, and it's not going to do anything. It's because, look, they keep them loose. They keep them loose. And the individual can't even detect it, can't even feel it wrapped around their hands. So imagine if I kept going, and I would say things like, oh, man, I'm a terrible dad. Man, I'm just not doing a good job providing for my family, and oh, my tummy's terrible. Look how terrible. I mean, it just like never stops jiggling, you know, and I'm just ripping on myself every day, all the time, just ripping on myself. Every time I rip on myself, it is a negative door that opens up. They just slide a new cord on me. They slide a new cord. This individual, who I'm acting out right now, would walk around like they're totally fine. Nothing ever happened to them from saying all those negative things. But here's something to consider. Okay, I'm going to train all of you, and then I'm going to demonstrate this for you. I can't notice that I have flaxen cords staying in one place in my life. It's tough to notice flaxen cords when I stay in the place that I'm at. Now, if I were to start moving forward, like I want to pick a goal and I want to go for a goal, I'm going to move forward, and as I'm taking action steps to move forward, I feel like I'm going to hit the end of my rope. Who's ever said that saying before? Or heard somebody say, oh my goodness, I was moving forward and it just feels like I've just hit something that stopped me. And they think that it was them that stopped them. Anytime I hear somebody goes, man, I was moving forward pretty good, but then all of a sudden now I feel like I'm stuck. Like I can't do much. And my spiritual side is like, you've got to the end of the ropes. Go, man, go. Take your next action step. Break those ropes. Get through those ropes. But this is what the common person does. They get moving towards a goal and they hit a spot and they feel like it's stopped, and then they go, see, God doesn't want me to move forward. He doesn't want me to go. And I'm sitting there going, maybe the devil has you tied up. Maybe he's been wrapping cords around you because you were negative, and now you're trying to go, and you're literally feeling the spiritual tug that your soul's been, in a way, tied down. I think what's got to happen is each one of us, we get in a place where we get moving. We get building, we get creating, because then when we get moving forward, we start to realize, hey, I got something here. And when I got something here, it's like, wait a second. I think there's something over here. I think there's something over here. It's like, oh, starting to recognize, oh, sheesh, I got flaxen cords. And instead of being afraid of it, what I do is I get to this point where it's like, man, this is that point where I feel like, I can't move forward very well, but this is where I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it. And a person will start to, wrestle with, oh, this is tough. This is a tough project. I don't know how I'm going to get this done. And what happens is, and see what they're doing naturally? It's exactly what the devil's minions do too. They start yanking on the rope. And they don't realize what they're doing is getting them busted. This is a glitch in their training. They hold on to the ropes. I recognize I have myself tied up from past language that got me all tied up this way. And so I hold this space, but instead of giving up, I add a little bit of extra energy. This is where you don't let go. You add a little bit of extra energy to it. But at this point of realizing, okay, I really have hit the end of what I physically can do. And when you hit the end of what you physically can do in this life, this is what you do next. Hey, where's my guardian angels? I need some guardian angels to fight this battle for me on the backside of what I'm doing. Where's my guardian angels at? I got some cords to cut. I got some little devil minions to just pick. And then that limitation, that wall, that spot where I didn't think I could do something, it's like, hold on a second. Oh, my goodness. Something's up. I can move. Man, I don't know. For some reason, I'm feeling like things are going to turn out good now. Number 8. Know the names of your guardian angels. Know the names. I look at Scripture and history as an index of great people who lived on the planet, who have passed on. And if they're on the other side, and we can call an Irishman, with permission of the heaven structure, an Irishman to help us with taxes, why could I not employ some guardian angels to literally stand with me? Why could I not look through history and look through Scripture and find names of people and go, man, that person's awesome. Man, those people are great. Man, there's a whole army of 2,000. You know, and I just start looking at these people and these leaders and these warriors, and it's like, I wonder if I could actually ask them for help. Boy, that was a prayer that woke me up. Number 1, dear God, can you help me with my flaxen cords? And I remember the answer I got back. What do you want done, Kirk? Well, I want them to show up with swords and cut the ropes and haul these other beings off and just clear the space. I want them just to clear the space. Can you do that? They're on their way. And they show up. And just when I had that feeling that I can't move forward and I have nothing left and there's nothing else I can do, after this experience, it's like all of a sudden I feel like everything's opened up. And in my mind's eye, I was like, Heavenly Father, what happened? It's like we cut cords. You're all tied up. You had thousands of them on you from your past. All these attachments and cords from the way you've been talking about yourself, you were all tied up. So do I have guardians around me? Can you guys sense that I have guardians around me? Can you see guardians? It kind of feels like they have swords. Do they have swords? Okay, cool. I wanted swords. I wanted them to have swords. Because I wanted them to show up because the good guys always win in heaven. Always win. So number 1, they show up and they cut the cords off. Anytime I feel a wall happening or a perceived wall, maybe it's not a wall, maybe I'm tied up. Maybe I need to call upon my guardians to show up and slice these cords off. Then my next step is, okay, I got to know my guardians. Who are my 10 favorite heroes? Who are my 10 heroes of history and Scripture? Man, I write down their names in my scriptures, and I got my names. So at any time I can go, if they're not too busy, could I have some assistance? I'd like to form my army around me. The Duncan home has a massive army around the home. Thousands of warriors that surround our home. When I do a presentation, this stage is packed full of warriors and guardians and wise, wise people. My wife at home right now is just encircled by lady warriors. Just encircled with them. Each one of my children, I ask that they have guardians assigned to them and that they just march with them wherever they go. I mean, number 8 is I got to set my family up for protection. I got to protect them on a spiritual level and not just play this like, well, please protect us. I feel like God's going up there, what do you want? You guys are still in the battle. The battle's happening on earth between good and evil. What do you want, Kirk? Can I have 2 people with little daggers? Well, okay, we got swords over here. We got bigger stuff. You want more people? Yeah, could I have 100? Ask for more. 1,000? Ask for more. 10,000? Come on, work it, Kirk, work it. Save us some time. How many do you want? 100,000? You want more? There's people sitting around. We got stuff to do. Help us out. 200,000. You want 200,000? Yeah, I want 200,000. Okay, where do you want them? I want them to surround the home. Okay, which way do you want them to face? What kind of stories do you want them to have? What do you want them to do? Well, if evil shows up, I want it sliced and diced. Something bad's coming my way. They turn and tell us. Something happens with my kids. Please return and report. Something's going to happen to my wife. Please warn me 4 days ahead so I can protect her. I do not walk this planet by myself. I've got so many people that work with me from the spiritual side of things. Why would I let myself be vulnerable to the gates of hell being open at me? Why would I let that be open? Why would I let my family be open? My front door on the left side and the right side is this gigantic warrior. And at nighttime, if my wife, listen to me, honey, you know at nighttime, I go click the door open and I go out on the front porch every night, almost every night, but every night I go out there and I stand there and I just practice. I look up to the left. How's it going? And I measure like right to his hip bone. It's like, the dude's big. There's one on this side too. And they just stand there with this massive sword that's on fire. And they just stand there. And I imagine down the road, some little evil thing is coming down the road and it goes, holy crap, I ain't going down there. Like they just literally just stand there guarding the home. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you should put me in a jacket. Or maybe it's time we as people advance. Maybe we need to advance and actually call upon heaven and trust that they don't just stay out there, that they're here. They're right here. And they're just like, come on, tell us what to do. We can't do anything unless you tell us. Ask for the protection. Ask for it. I remember my son, we're kneeling down for family prayer, and my son goes, dear God, could we have a row of angels around our house? And could they have grenades on their belt? And could one of them have a lightsaber and crossbows that shoot fiery arrows? And I remember kneeling there. I believe it was Cody doing this. I remember opening my eyes and looking at Kim, and she goes, it's okay. It's okay. And he's like, crossbows, grenades, lightsaber. And he's getting the whole arsenal. And then he goes, and then can we have a Tyrannosaurus Rex walk around the house and just patrol things, and a Triceratops just sit by the front door and bite anybody who comes by? And he just sit there and just go on. And I'm sitting there going, I hope heaven's okay with this. I didn't know we could call dinosaurs in, but I'm in for that one. I'm in. Like, let it go. Just let it roll. And we says amen, and then we go to tuck the kids in at night, and I remember tucking Cody in, and I'm like, all right, good night, Cody. I'm tucking him in, and he goes, Dad, what? I see him. What do you see? And he goes, they're out there. All all those angels I asked for, they're right outside. Oh, good. Now I can sleep. And he drifts off to sleep. Who's to say what a kid can see if it's true or not? Just like Cameron saw guardians on four-wheelers, angels on four-wheelers. Cody sees warriors who surround the home. So I jump in on the conversation too. When you write down number 8 about having guardians, please, before you go to sleep tonight, position them around your home. And if you love your spouse, ask if it's okay if you have guardians, your favorite guardians, go with your spouse. Ask for your kids to be protected at school. Not just protected, but give it an imagery and a story and details. And you can see people literally walking with them. Because if there's going to be blue dot people, then they're here to help us. I think all of this comes together in helping us soften our heart to have a heart of gold, to really be receptive and sensitive to what's happening around us. Would you guys give our guardian angels up here a big round of applause, please? Thank you. And also our other volunteers, give them a good big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Wayne, could you grab these ropes really quick for me? So as you're here tonight, we've covered 8 different things that can set you up to be able to soften your heart. 8 different things. Did you get all 8? Yes. Yeah? Show the person next to you. I got them all. I got them all. Now, trying to do 8 at one time, whoa, that's a lot. But I think there might be one of those that has resonated with you. And that would make sense to me. I think I got to go home and I got to love my tummy more. Maybe not in public, but I'm going to love my tummy. Or maybe you're going to choose number 2 or number 6. But I know I've equipped you with enough information to really dial in what's going on inside your heart. So as you look at this, and you have a heart and a mind, as communication is coming into your mind from whatever angle it's coming in, your heart is going to sense who it is you're listening to. This is your ability to feel or sense what is around you. And those 8 different steps I gave you is to help you focus on putting your heart in a great place. Up here, when it comes to your mind has had years of internal dialogue that has been negative. And you've been tough on yourself. Who in here grew up with a bully in school or in your neighborhood? Anybody grew up with a bully? Man, I grew up with a bully that's just mean and nasty. Broke my stuff, stole my bike, broke my pottery thing I made in pottery class. Just bully, just terrible stuff. It just worked the negative stuff on me like crazy. We've had bullies on the outside. We've also had people be mean and say some mean and nasty things to us. And you know how they said it long time ago, but that saying is still rolling around in our head? You know what I'm talking about. It's in there. It's still rolling around. We've had years of this negative stuff going on, that got inside our head. It's literally inside. And these negative things, they can sit there. And they're literally holding up space, which means out here, trying to get some positive to come in. All my negative stuff that was in my head, it's probably been about 14 years ago. About 14 years ago, I just got off a phone call with my boss, and he totally chewed me out. I messed up on something, and I didn't know what I was doing. I messed up on something at work, and he was calling me, and he was chewing me out. And he's like, Duncan, when are you ever going to figure stuff out, man? You just can't do anything right. You're costing the company a bunch of money. I mean, he's railing on me. And I'm just sitting there listening to it. I already had my own negative stuff going on inside my head about myself, but now here comes my boss, and he's just pouring it on and just tearing me up bad. Well, that day, it stacked up big enough. When I was driving home, man, it was bad in my head. I'd already gone through about 4 or 5 months of like really bad depression, and this is years and years ago before I got into doing what I'm doing right now. But it was so bad. I was just barely trying to come out of some depression, the type of thing that I was going through, and then I get chewed out, and it just sent me to the bottom. So I'm driving home. I remember driving home, and the voices were just determined. I mean, they literally, I'm on the way home, and it went like this. Your boss hates you. And I found myself agreeing. Yeah, he does hate me. You're really screwing up at work. Yeah, I am. Kim's not going to be happy when you get home because you're going to get home late. Oh, I know. It's like all these comments were things that I actually could agree to. And they were just one after another. And it was about a 20-minute drive home from work. And I found myself agreeing to all these statements. And the statements just kept going. Well, Kim's going to be mad. Yeah, I know. And then the kids are going to get upset because you guys are going to argue. And the kids are going to run away. And there you go again, being a bad dad. I know. And then the voice says, you know what? When you get home, in the middle of the night, why don't you grab some clothes and stuff and grab that last $50 out of your sock drawer and just take off for a couple days. You just need a break. Oh, you know what? That'd be a good idea to take off and be gone for a couple days. It went quiet for a while, and about 5, 7 minutes later, the voice piped up again and went, you know what? Instead of being gone for a couple days, why don't you just leave? I mean, Kim's just going to be better off without you because, you come home grumpy and she doesn't like it. And, can you just see how your kids and your wife will be so much happier if you just left home and just went on? You just need to go somewhere. Go up in the mountains and just go camp for a while. God, you know what? That's a really good idea that I should leave for a longer period of time. And I'm agreeing. All these statements I'm just agreeing to and agreeing to and agreeing to. And I'm agreeing so much that I'm about 10, 12 minutes away from home, and the voice keeps going. And it says, well, if you're going to be gone for a long time, how about you just never come back? Just be done with all of this. Just don't come back. God, that actually feels so much better to think that way, that I don't have to come back to this. Okay, I'm in. I'm just never going to come back. Now I'm about 5, 7 minutes from home. And the voice goes, well, why don't you just be gone? I didn't know what that meant. Just be gone. Yeah. And it's like this dialogue's happening. Why don't you just be gone? Yeah. I should just go. Starting to pull off the exit to go home, and this little voice goes, hey, you know what? You actually could be gone pretty fast. As soon as you get home, this is what you could do, and it's going to make so many people happy that you're gone. Oh my gosh, that makes sense. Oh my gosh, and that's going to feel so much better. That actually makes sense. Okay, so when I get home, I'm going to get that, and I'll just go out in the garage, and then I'll just do this, and then I won't make a mess, and then I'll be gone. I'll just remove me from the equation, and so everybody else can be happy. Oh, that makes sense. I'm pulling off 90th South in Sandy, Utah, to go up to Greenwood Drive to be home in just a matter of minutes, and I followed the voice all the way to the agreeance and I felt okay with taking my life. Like it was okay. I mean, the voice walked me all the way through it. I agreed all the way. It made total sense. It wasn't scary. It wasn't terrible. It was like it was going to solve the problem. But man, it was sneaky. I pull off the exit and I'm like, oh, I got to go home and do this and just be done and just make everybody happy. And then there's all these orange barrels and all this construction, and I'm getting delayed and drive down this one lane and go here. And I found myself like wanting to get home to finish this, to make all this pain and this misery go away. It just sounded like such a good relief. So I'm about ready to pull up to State Street. And it's a red light, and I pull up to State Street, and I have decided what I'm going to do. I've decided I'm done. Sick of my boss, sick of being the problem for everybody else. I'm done. Sitting there at the stoplight, and the red light is just sitting there, red, 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 red. It's not letting me go. I'm sitting there going, this is the longest light ever. I'm sitting there like, come on, turn green, turn green. My family's going to be home pretty soon. I turn green. And it's sitting there just red. And from a different direction, I hear a voice. Totally different voice. Deep voice. Shook my heart. Wasn't just a head voice. This voice, when it spoke, shook my mind and shook my heart. And all it said was, Kirk, you have forgotten who you are. And it just shook me. And in that moment, I was like, forgot who I am. And it spoke again, and it goes, Kirk, you have forgotten who you are. Remember, Kirk, remember who you are. And I'm sitting there, and I started to plead to this voice. I go, I don't know who I am. I don't know. I don't know who I am. And literally in a split second, I swear, this image comes shooting into my mind. This image flies into my mind. And right as though I'm looking at you right now, everything in front of me changed. And what appeared in front of me was this man standing there with this armor. And it's got gashes on it. It's dirty and it's beaten. And this man's holding this shield that's taken hits. And he's holding this sword. And he's just big and muscular. I'm like, who is this? And I look at the face. Oh my gosh. It's me. It's me. And I see this image of myself, and I see this gladiator, this warrior standing there with his shield, and it's just been beat up. It's like, oh my gosh, that's me. And on the inside of me, I just heard this other voice speak up, and it was my voice just going, you're a warrior, Kirk. You defend truth. You shut down the evil. You shut down the lies in people's lives. You shut it down. You fight on the front lines. You fight on the front lines. You open up your heart and you fight for the people. And I'm sitting there in the light, and these tears are flying through my eyes, and I'm just like starting to bawl, and the light turns green, and people are honking at me. And I got one voice over here that's like, take your life, take your life. I got this voice over here showing me this image, fight for it, fight for it. I'm pulling down the road. I'm 3 blocks away. I come around the corner. My house is the 4th down on the right. I pull into the driveway, and I got this massive war going on for my soul. I pull into the driveway, and I'm sitting there, and there's the garage. I'm sitting there with a choice. What do I do? What do I do? Just then I hear this knock on my truck door. Conk, 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 conk. Shakes me. I look out the window. There's little Cameron. Hey, Dad, what you doing? I'm not going to tell him. I'm just sitting here, Cameron. Dad, you got to come inside and play Legos with me. Come on, I'm just getting home from school. Let's go play Legos. I look at Cameron. He wants to play Legos. I look at the garage. It's the way out. What, Cameron? Dad, come on, come play with me. I don't know if my son Cameron realizes that he saved my life that day. And little did I know that Legos saved my life that day too. The heart of gold tonight is my way of fighting for you and your souls. The heart of gold tonight is my way of teaching you about how to protect your heart and not fall into the trickery and the slyness of that evil one. You, my friends, because you're here at this class, I know who you are. You're just like me. You got that shield on. You got that armor on. You carry this. You carry your sword. You stand on the front lines with me. You take hits. You totally take the hits, but you stand there. I just want to know, do I have a whole new army to hang out with? Do I have some gladiators in the room? Do I have some warriors in the room? Are you going to take some hits? Are you going to go down?
No.
Are you going to stand strong?
Yes.
Are you going to stand strong?
Yes.
Okay, the way that you stay strong is we must see ahead of the tactics of the opposing army. Tonight, I gave you 8 important battle techniques to watch out for and what things to do. I'm showing you what to do, but my concern is you won't do even one of them. So I got to know. Will you please look at your list of 8? Get your pen or your pencil. Sort through the 1 through 8 and circle one. Just circle one. Just circle one, because I want you to show me your notes here in just a moment. Because if you walk out of here without picking and making a decision of where to start, oh my goodness, I put you in a state of indecision. Not going to be held accountable for that one. Okay, so take your list, look through 1 through 8, and just pick one. Put a big star, put a big circle around it. And as soon as you put a circle around it or a big star next to it, just yell out, "Got it, Kirk!"
Got it.
Yell it out, "Got it, Kirk!"
Got it, Kirk.
Okay, hold it up. Hold it up. I want to see it. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Okay, hold it up. Hold it up. Over here, over here, over here. Hold it up, hold it up. Okay, sweet. I even see it on cell phones. That's awesome. Show the person next to you, I can see it. Okay, show the person on the other side of you and just tell them, I can see it. Show the person behind you, hey, look, I can see it. You can see it. If you can't see it, it can take you down. If you can't see it, it takes you down. You got 8 on there to protect your heart. You can do some good things with this. And I know that there's many of these that were new for you to hear. Something new for you to hear. And so it's important when you go to sleep tonight that you pick one of these. And I hope before you go to bed, you choose number 8 and surround your home with heroes and guardians as much as possible. I hope that with number 1, 2, and 3, and even number 4, there's a reason that they're at the top of the list. It's what people don't recognize the most. They don't see that. But I don't want one of my friends to go down. I hope we all can stand on the front line and win this war. Because I know we're all on the same team. Now tonight was training on your heart of gold. Tonight's training is on heart of gold. For those of you who want to move to an advanced training, it's called Mind of Steel. Heart of gold. Tonight we worked this direction to work up to the mind. But we don't have another 2 hours or 3 hours to sit here because some of you got to get home and get ready for tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. True? Yeah. You got to get home and pick your guardian angels too. So as you look at this piece up here, when it comes to your mind of steel, I got a way to make it super easy for you to be able to focus on protecting your mind and cleaning your mind out. Will you just very politely tap the person on the head next to you and just tell them, you should probably clean some stuff up in there. Yeah, you should probably clean some stuff up in there. Right? So, to protect it and to clean it up. You know, when I went and played Legos with Cameron, I sat there just stewing. I was just stewing about this. I was like, you know what? I'm actually ticked now. I'm actually ticked that the devil got that close to me. Man, I'm ticked. How did he trick me? How did he do this? And it turned something on inside me. My warrior, my defender, my get involved with the battle. And that was like years ago. I got into it. The next couple of weeks, I started studying and reversing backwards of how he got me there. What did he do? How did he sneak that in? And I started reversing and finding all these tactics that he did. It's like, ooh, that makes me mad. Oh, he got in my head. Hold on a second. Is he getting to my kids? Has he gotten into my kids' heads? What about my friends? Maybe he's gotten into your heads. Maybe you got some stuff inside that's just roaming around beating you up. Well, I've got an online program called Mind of Steel Training. And it literally is an online program to be able to teach you and your family how to clear out your mind. It's like cleanup. Seriously, just getting in there and cleaning out all the dangerous, hurtful stuff that could be damaging you. So, in your books, for those of you who are at Mastery Influence, turn to page 113, I think it is. It's in the back of your book. The online program is called Mind of Steel Training. And it is literally designed for the family. Which means online means you can live anywhere in the world. and have access to these training principles on how to clean up your mind. Now, you would think that, once you're over 30 years old, you don't have any negative stuff in your mind. Talk to me. You still have stuff happening, right? So this is how it works. There are 4 videos that are 1 hour each. 4 videos that are 1 hour each. Each training segment has a download of worksheets that you can print off for you, for your spouse, for each one of your kids. You can watch it on the computer, hook it up to your TV so you can watch. You can stop, rewind, pause, talk about it. But it's literally how to clean out the negative talk going on inside your mind. It's those internal mind bullies going on. Oh, they cause damage. They cause damage. And so for us, what makes this great is that it's online. You move through the program as fast or slow as you want. You always have access to it. It's perfectly designed to be able to teach teenagers, 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds. The youngest student I've had go through the program is 5. Little 5-year-old sitting there listening, mom and dad's explaining it, doing the diagrams, doing the work each week that within the 4-week program, clean your head out. Totally clean your head out. So bump the person next to you and just tell them, hey, imagine in 4 weeks you're going to be cleaned up. Hey, imagine in 4 weeks you're going to be cleaned up. We as individuals, we wrestle and battle the little voices in our head every single day. And they're in there. And to help us be able to make better decisions, we need to clean house. It's like going into a dirty room and you're trying to function in the dirty room, and it's just like you're kind of tripping over stuff and you can't quite be as efficient. So this Mind of Steel training program has come from my own personal experience of me cleaning up my head, cleaning up my thinker, get it all cleaned out. So I've been working on my heart, and I know how to do that, but man, I need to move upstairs here and clean out what's been happening in my head. Who would agree that you have stuff in your head you wish you didn't hear over and over and over again? Yeah? Yep, we know what we're talking about, right? So here, because you have been here and participated in the program tonight, man, I'm going to make it super, super easy for you to bring this program into your home. Now, if you look at the flyer that's in your book there, you'll see how much the program is. It's in that upwards of $300 to be able to bring this program in. But you ask yourself, what if your kids performed better in school because their head was cleared out? What if your spouse didn't have the same junk going on in their head? I think they'd actually do better. So sometimes a family member who's listening to me right now, maybe they're looking at themselves going, well, I'm okay, but man, I got somebody in my family struggling. Let's get a program that is specifically designed to really clean the mind out and build a mind of steel. So you see on the flyer, it's a 4-week program, 4 videos of Kirk talking to you, teaching you, training you, just like I did with Talmadge. He listened, though. He didn't watch videos, but this takes it to the next level of being able to pause and rewind to make sure you get all those steps. This program also asks you to take steps over the next 4 weeks, and if you will stay together as a family over the next 4 weeks, you will find as you are with your family, you can openly talk about what's happening. It gives you a common language. So when you're with your family or with your spouse, you can openly talk like, oh, so hey, did you do that exercise and what did you find? Oh, I found this and this, and what did you find? Oh man, it was really cool to find this. Maybe you should look for this inside you. Because right now, most people don't have that common ground. They're nervous how to start the conversation and what words to use to explain it. Boy, I've seen some incredible things happen with family because they can all talk. And it's not so weird to bring it up at dinner. It's like it's just common language. Hey, how's your thinker? How are you thinking about this? Where'd your thoughts go today? Did you use that exercise to clean it out? I got to tell you, when I hear moms, when moms get a hold of me and they say, oh my gosh, Kirk, my two boys were fighting and arguing. And I walked in the room and I said, hey, what you guys got going on? And one of my boys goes, I think I got a dot person telling me to beat my brother up. Okay, what do you think you should do? Well, I should go do step 2. Okay, you gonna go do that? Yeah, I'll be back. The boy walks in the room, comes out and goes, hey, I'm sorry. I beat you up. I got rid of my dot person. And the mom's sitting there going, did that just happen? Did they just sort that out themselves? Did that just happen? I remember an individual I met who was teaching at church. This one was really cute. We're teaching at church, and they had a little group, just little tiny kids, right? A little group of kids, but they're old enough to talk. And the teacher, she was saying, now, and then Satan got kicked out of heaven, and one of the little girls goes, he's a dot person. And the teacher went, dot person? Yeah, my mommy and daddy teach me about dot people, and there's red ones and there's blue ones. And she goes, what's a dot person? I can draw you a picture. And goes to the chalkboard and draws the picture and goes. And then they talk to us, but we have to have a mind of steel to protect ourselves against the red people, but we have to be open to the blue people. But they're just teaching. And the teacher's like, where did you learn this? These little kids want help. They want help. They don't understand what's happening inside their minds. They need help. They want, what do I do, Mom? What do I do, Dad? And when your kids come to you and they go, so what do you do if I have 4 negative thoughts in my head? How do I clean them out so they never come back? I hope you're a parent or a grandparent who knows the step-by-step process to make that work for them, because they're going to look for it. So I want to help you. I want to help you win on what's happening inside your mind. So this is what it looks like for you. If you would like to purchase this online program tonight or till tomorrow morning, tonight or tomorrow morning, you can use the price tonight or tomorrow morning. And you can sign up for this online program for Building a Mind of Steel, and you have access to it for as long as you want. And you can have that whole program for your family for $47. For less than $50, you can have this training inside your home to use. I mean, seriously, that is crazy to be able to have such a big program brought to your home that's so specific about how your mind works. Now, those of you who decide to register tonight, before you go, I got something else for you. So I always like giving bonuses, like extras, or, who in here likes extras? Anybody like extras? Okay, you're just like me. I like extras. Hey, DJ, can you show that picture of those audios on the screen for me, please? So those of you who decide to register tonight, I got 3 bonus audios that I want to give you as downloads that are above and beyond the program. So I want to make sure that you have my Slay the Dragon training and also my Finding Your Higher Power training. And of course, the Building a Mind of Steel audio to listen in the car to continue to learn about the Building a Mind of Steel program. But the Slay the Dragon, the Finding the Higher Power, great mentoring, mind-opening training. Things you probably have not considered before. And let me give you some tips. Finding Your Higher Power audio, listen to that one first. Listen to Finding Your Higher Power first. It will open up your mind. It is the audio where I share how I developed my relationship with heaven so that I can hear his voice on more of an ongoing basis. Because I had some glitches in my head. And I had to sort it out. And you'll hear how I sorted it out. I had a 72-year-old woman who walked up to me who said, man, I've been religious all my life. When I listened to your Finding the Higher Power, Kirk, when I listened to that, you blew my mind open. And she goes, the very next day, I could hear him talking to me because I had to change how I was looking at it inside my mind. So for those of you who are going to do this and get the Building a Mind of Steel program for your kids and for your family so you can all talk the same language, get this training, please listen to Finding Your Higher Power first. So they handed out to you some registration forms, and go ahead and fill that out. Be sure to put $47 for Building a Mind of Steel. And all of you online, all those online who are also going to purchase this, I'm also going to make sure that you get these 3 recordings too. So no matter where you live in the whole entire world, you guys can jump in on this training and have this come to your home. Don't have to travel. It's going to come to you. Because I know how it works. The devil comes after our mind, and he goes after our heart. He's going after both. And tonight's Heart of Gold training was rock solid. Would you agree? Did you find value in what you learned here tonight? Yes? Man, imagine what I could train you about what goes on in your mind. Boy, for $47, that's worth it for your family. Or you could take your family out to dinner and eat food. One time. I mean, really. You look at it, how and where people, spend their money, and there are those who know what we need to get ready for. This cute little letter right here. I'm just going to show you these two little letters, and then we'll go. This little letter right here is from Adriana. It's a little handwritten letter, 8 years old. She came to a class I had called a body language show, and we had little people, they could come if they were even little youngsters to it. At the class, she helped me on stage with something, and so I offered her a gift, and she chose, at 8 years old, the Building a Mind of Steel CD. And I asked her, why do you want this CD over other things that I was giving you? And she said, in front of the audience we were in front of, she said, I have little voices in my head, and they're really mean. And I don't know what to do with them. And they're always talking, and they're really mean. And they tell me to do mean things. So she got the audio. A couple weeks later, I get this letter in the mail, and I just have to read it to you. Dear Kirk, thank you so much for letting me choose the free CD. I've done the exercises on the dot people, and my dad says I really get into it. And Satan has successfully gone out of my head. She talks about how she draws on paper some of the exercises, and she goes down here to say, then I draw an arrow, and it pointed at the negative on the paper, and I said, you're fired, Satan. And ever since, now remember, this is an 8-year-old trying to figure out how to explain what's going on. And ever since I did that and the exercises, I haven't had one single solitary negative thought. Once again, thank you so much for helping me, or I might have led a very bad life. From that smart 8-year-old, Adriana. 8 years old, they need help. So if you want to jump in on that offer, I'll also add those 3 audios, and you'll find a common language that'll make a big difference in your family. I appreciate you being here tonight, and I appreciate your interest in having a heart of gold. And I also am going to encourage you, as my fellow warriors and my fellow team members in this battle for truth, let's protect our families. more than just trying to make money and pay for groceries. Let's teach them how to win in the spiritual level of life. Are you guys in on that? Okay, last thing before we go. Underneath your seat, you have a sword. And in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to pull your sword out and stand up and just stand up and just yell the word freedom. What are we going to yell?
Freedom.
What are we going to yell?
Freedom.
We're going to yell freedom, and just yell it as top of your lungs, because I don't know, something about that sound just gets my heart going. Okay, so you got a sword under your seat. You believe me? Yes. Okay, so if you want those 3 audios, be sure you sign up tonight. If you sign up tomorrow, you can still have the program, but not the extra 3 audios. Okay, so let's grab that sword, and then we're going to stand up, yell at the top of our lungs, freedom. And my friends, I know you will stand for freedom. Here we go. Ready, and go! Freedom! I love you guys, and thank you for being here. Love you guys.